Still release your Season 3 content in the near future. Exact date. Servers will remain active until June 3rd, 2025. Wow.
Rubin was the lead of XDefiant. And for those of you who don't even know what XDefiant is, this was a game that released earlier this year. It also had a bunch of betas before that, so I played this game quite a bit when it was in beta stage. I even played one of the first ever sessions of this game, and it was essentially trying to be a competitor with Call of Duty multiplayer. It was a free-to-play online shooter with very similar mechanics and features to core 6v6 multiplayer from Call of Duty. So in a lot of ways, it was like the best possible competitor out there for Call of Duty, and I honestly enjoyed it a lot. When I played it, I had a blast with it. Their main selling point was basically the fact that the game doesn't have skill-based matchmaking, which is obviously a thing that a lot of people didn't like about recent Call of Duty titles and still don't like about recent Call of Duty titles. And this game was originally announced back in like 2021, and then it was actually given its first playtest during Modern Warfare 2's life cycle. And remember, Modern Warfare 2 was a game that a lot of people hated. The one that came out in 2022, that was like one of the lowest points for Call of Duty ever. So when XDefiant was shown off as this competitor to Call of Duty, everyone was so hyped because we just wanted that classic Call of Duty feel again, and this game kind of provided that. So we were just so excited. But then once Modern Warfare 3 released and they fixed a lot of the issues with Modern Warfare 2, suddenly all those COD fans that were kind of grabbed into playing XDefiant just suddenly stopped caring about XDefiant because most of their interest in XDefiant was the fact that it was replacing Call of Duty for them. But if Call of Duty is good, then they have no reason to go play XDefiant, and that's kind of what happened. And obviously now Black Ops 6 is out, and most people have kind of just forgotten that XDefiant even exists. And it really is unfortunate because most of these people genuinely enjoyed XDefiant. But the thing is we don't have that much time in our lives. We don't have that much time to play video games. And when people want to play a 6v6 arena shooter, first-person shooter game, they're probably going to choose Call of Duty. They're going to choose what game does best at it, and Call of Duty has consistently done best at it. And this essentially led to the game now getting shut down because not enough people are actually playing the game. And this is really unfortunate, obviously, all around. Even though I personally was not playing the game, I haven't played the game since it launched, I still do think this is unfortunate because obviously a lot of people are now losing their jobs, and those who are really passionate about creating it can't continue on to make more content for it. And there's also other people who did play it and did still enjoy it to this day, and they are not going to be able to play the game anymore past a certain date. Now, what I wanted to mainly discuss in this video is how this affects Call of Duty fans, which
just play other games.
Sounds ridiculous because obviously this is a much bigger thing than just Call of Duty. Like I said, a lot of people lost their jobs. But the reason I want to kind of pivot to Call of Duty is because, well, a lot of COD fans are going to be happy about this, just inevitably. I've been hearing for months a bunch of COD fans wanting this to get shut down and actively wishing upon this game's downfall. And I just don't get that for a number of reasons. First of all, obviously there's the morality behind it. Obviously, why would you want to wish harm upon someone else's creation? I just don't really understand that personally. And second of all, this could definitely negatively affect Call of Duty in quite a lot of different ways. One of the main reasons why it could negatively affect it is because you have competition here. You have this very specific game that is trying to compete with you, which pretty much no other games compete with Call of Duty directly. When it comes to multiplayer, obviously. Warzone, you have all those other competitors like Fortnite and stuff like that, but that's very different. When I'm talking about multiplayer, the only competitor really was XDefiant. I don't know any other game that has that similar COD feel that's even close to Call of Duty. So you basically have zero competitors now. XDefiant was trying to be one, and it honestly was. In a lot of ways, you could say that XDefiant led to the changes that were made with MW3. Now, to be honest, those changes could have happened regardless. We don't know for sure. We don't know if XDefiant is exactly what led to it, but I would like to imagine that a lot of the hype around that game did at least convince the devs to make certain changes for that next game, and maybe even some of the changes into Black Ops 6, like for example adding prestige mode. A lot of these things could have been because of XDefiant. We really don't know for sure. And I'd like to imagine if XDefiant became this really big game that was either as big as Call of Duty or maybe even a little bit bigger, then 100% Call of Duty would have changed the way they go about skill-based matchmaking. It would have 100% happened. I would be shocked if it didn't. But Why would they have any reason to change it now? Beyond just their own reasons, of course, because they have a lot of statistics that show them that skill-based matchmaking does help the overall retention in their games. But if they see this other game that has no skill-based matchmaking and is attempting to compete with them and that game fails, they're going to look at that and just see it as an example of what they should not be doing with their own game. So basically, I think this means skill-based matchmaking will probably never change. Now, personally, I don't think no skill-based matchmaking is what led to XDefiant not having a lot of players. Like I said before, it's just simply the fact that Call of Duty already exists, and XDefiant does not have the same smooth feeling that Call of Duty has. Therefore, people are going to pick Call of Duty over it. Call of Duty is already also an established franchise that's been established for years. It's always going to have more people talking about it. You're not going to be better than that game. And because it's such a big game that has so much to do in it, people don't really have time to play other games. That's kind of how I am. Like I said, I enjoyed XDefiant. I had a lot of fun with it, but I have no time to play it whatsoever. Therefore, it just wasn't a game I touched much at all. But none of this changes the fact that competition is good, and I really wish that this game could have stayed afloat and actually been a competitor to Call of Duty long term. I just don't think it was able to get to that point because it just didn't find ways to bring people in as much as it should have. And obviously a big reason for this game's failure was the marketing. It just didn't do a great job of showcasing what it is and what it wants to be. Instead, it just kind of went there and said, okay, we are basically trying to be like Call of Duty, but we're not doing the bad things about Call of Duty. The things you don't like about it, we are not doing here. And the reason that's obviously not a good marketing tactic is because Call of Duty is an ever-changing franchise. There's a brand new game every single year with new features, new mechanics, new things. So of course, it's not going to be the exact same year to year. So if there's a problem with one game, that does not mean that problem is going to exist in the next game. So if you're marketing yourself as, oh, we don't have this in our game, well, what if the next Call of Duty also doesn't have that? Then like, what are you doing? Then there's really nothing to base off of your game anymore. You have no reason to get people to actually play your game. And I think that was one of the main issues. And I also think one of the other main issues is really just the feel. Again, I just don't think any other development studio has ever been able to nail down the smoothness of Call of Duty. I felt this way playing Sker Ritual. Sker Ritual was a game that was trying to basically be similar to round-based zombies, and it was actually a really fun game. And that game is very different than XDefiant because it's a much smaller scale game, smaller studio, but it still was something that I enjoyed playing. I just didn't see any reason to play it over traditional Call of Duty Zombies because it just didn't have that smoothness to it, and it just kind of felt clunky playing it compared to Call of Duty. Ultimately, I do think competition is very necessary for a game to succeed long term, and like I said, I just don't think Call of Duty is going to get that anytime soon, because how can a game compete with something like Call of Duty? And games maybe probably shouldn't even try. As much as I want them to, because I want there to be competitors to it, I don't really know what's the point. If you can't get better than it, are people going to even bother playing it? Call of Duty is such a consumptious game where there's just so much to it. I mean, just there's so many different modes. It's pretty much the only video game I play consistently. I really don't play that many other games. I rarely get any time to play other video games because of how consuming Call of Duty is. And that's obviously a good thing for the franchise, but it's just not a good thing for other franchises that are trying to become something. And when you have a bunch of COD fans, you're probably not going to get them off those games because COD is, like I said, a very consuming game. Overall, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below about all this news. Are you mad that it's happening? Were you an XDefiant player yourself? I would love to hear the thoughts of people who actively play XDefiant and if they're pissed about this news. I'm assuming they would be, because if you're actively playing, you probably enjoyed the game quite a bit. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. I will see you on my next one. Peace out.
Children's class.
Man, it's fucking sad to see it, chat. It's just it's a turn in the gaming industry where we've played games before that have gotten shut down. But that's gaming, you know. It's a point if you got a game that's trying to compete with like the biggest franchise ever of Call of Duty itself. You can't, like, game studios can't go against other game studios. I know now we have Diablo 4 and Path of Exile 2. Obviously nothing will happen to both of those games, but critics are going to be crazy, reviews are going to be crazy, fucking... There's going to be a war. There's going to be a fucking world war for PvP players going at each other. And I'm standing with Path of Exile because I've never liked any of the Diablo games. Not even Diablo 4 interested me. Path of Exile 2's interested me. since I've been talking about it since 2019. The only times I was gonna think of getting it was like probably 2020. Or not 2020, fucking like last year or the year before that. I was thinking about getting it. But then I'm like, there's no point. Because that's when they just announced a new Path of Exile 2 game is gonna come out. I was like, well, hold up. And then it got announced. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna wait. There's no point getting Diablo 4 and then getting Path of Exile, because I'd rather play Path of Exile 2 than Diablo. Because it just looks better. It looks way fucking better. It looks awesome. And I can't wait for that to be launched in the next 7 hours from now. So, obviously, I have to install it tomorrow night, meaning we can't play it tomorrow, but we can play it the next day after. So, we'll do a big stream. And hopefully I'll have enough storage for that. I probably will. Because the game itself is like 100 gig. And yeah. Alrighty, chat. That is going to do it for the stream for tonight. Moderators have got some clipping to do. I got some downloading to do. I'm going to end the stream. I'm going to raid Razor. I do appreciate everyone coming out tonight, watching the stream, everyone with the resubs, the followers from the chat in the community, everyone with the TTS messages. We will be back here again tomorrow with 10 hours of Delta tomorrow. I'm going to also update it tonight, replay it tonight, see if it still runs okay, and we'll see you then. But, yeah, no, we'll definitely check it onto that. But we will start the raid. I think that's good. Alrighty, chat. You guys take care. Have a good night. Talk to you guys tomorrow. I'll be on around like 11 or 12 tomorrow. And I'll see you guys then. You guys take care. Have a wonderful night. Peace out.